Still loading. Does anyone else feel like it seems like it shouldn't matter, but I feel like World of Warcraft loads worse and sometimes gets stuck on loading screens more often if you take focus away from the window. I feel like that's the case. I don't know. Alright, well, let's go. Molten core and no, what am I doing? Silver moon, you can't fly, so yes. Actually, I'm starting to think that maybe the Dalaran crater is the best place. I'm bad at judging these things. We'll just go to Karazhan, like always. It's fast enough either way with full flying. Boom. Load again. But it's not a Dalaran load. That's the important part. That is the important part. Part of this stream is also just testing my webcam volume. I really honestly have no clue what's a good volume for it, so we'll find out now, especially since I'm not doing anything fancy with the audio feed. So the webcam's probably picking up game sound as well. I know some people use headsets for that, but the way I figure it, part of the reason to have the webcam is to use the microphone on it and not have to wear a headset. So, you know, we're going to try it like this. If it doesn't work, then I'll figure something out. I'm not real concerned about it. This is really just practice so that when if I'm speedrunning anything later, I don't kind of let the stream get to me, you know what I mean? I'm probably not even going to highlight this or put it on YouTube anyways. Simply because it's just, I mean, there's no reason. It's no different than my other Ulduar Molten Core runs. Nothing different about it at all. Now, if I were to actually get Sulfurous, then I would have to highlight that. But as it is, it's not. Or if I get lucky on Val'anyr drops in Ulduar and actually make Val'anyr, then I'll definitely highlight it. That's okay. If not, it's whatever. I have, this will be, if I get lucky, I can have Val'anyr today. And if I get unlucky, odds are I'll still get it next week. Maximum 2 more weeks. So I'm almost there. I'm almost there on Val'anyr. Val'anyr? I don't know how you say it, actually. That's one of my big regrets about Wrath of the Lich King, is I didn't really raid Ulduar because I'm on a horrible server. I don't know if you can see it on my screen. I'm on the Underbog. So, at the time, server merges weren't a thing. So, you couldn't... It was just bad. Whoa. Don't get too upset, bird. You're loud. Yes. Server merges weren't a thing, and I wasn't in a raiding guild on purpose because I didn't really have time to schedule play. I did pick up raid a lot of Ice Crown as a healer, but the pickup raids on my server were not good at clearing Ulduar just because the mechanics are more complicated than Ice Crown in most cases, especially near the beginning with Flame Leviathan. So, long story short, I didn't get to pug Ulduar very much, and if I did, I wouldn't have been getting the Val'anyr pieces anyways. You know. current content legendary quests are for raiding guilds to do. So I never did it when it was live, and that's a big regret of mine, especially since you can't transmog legendaries. I wish you could. That would be fantastic. But since you can't, basically you can show it off in town, and that's about it, because the stats are, of course, abysmal. Him, kill these guys. Some paladin gear that I don't have the transmog for, because I've never run this with my paladin, and it doesn't give you the transmog for other armor types. Because whoever developed transmog for Blizzard must hate everyone. I don't see why you wouldn't let you get transmog for other classes. It doesn't make sense to me. But, say lovey. I guess we're lucky we have it at all, because, I mean, it came out in Cataclysm, right? So, you know, 3 expansions deep before you get appearance slots, which I'm sure people have been asking for since the first content patch. Oh no, all my Molten Core gear that looks sweet, I'm gonna have to give it up for this stupid looking gear from whatever the next raid was. What? I can't remember what the classic raid progression was, if it was Molten Core was the endgame dungeon for original WoW, but then they added Encourage and Nax, and I don't remember which one came first. I think Encourage came first. I feel like Nax was the final dungeon of Classic. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I post this anywhere where you can comment. I didn't play during Classic, so my knowledge of what was going on then, I think I've said it a little bit in a previous video, but some of these dungeons, you know, you play Blackwing Depths and or Blackwing Lair and Molten Core and Encourage. And if you think about trying to do that at Classic WoW stats, you know, doing crazy stuff like stacking Warlocks so you could put, you know, you could decurse more. The mechanics of the game were just completely different. And you had to be really organized and have large groups of organized people. I mean, this dungeon, Molten Core, is a 40-man raid originally. 40. So I mean, that's old school MMO sizes of raids. In addition to that, the mechanics were completely different. I mean, people were stacking fire resistance gear just so they could survive some of the attacks that you have to soak in this dungeon. Even when I played it during Wrath and came back to solo this, it was very tough. Encourage, which I ran a lot of pug groups. I had like a farming guild that I ran, you know, just to go get tier stuff before transmog was a thing, and also I was farming Brood of Nosdormu rep in Encourage, but you needed a group. I mean, you still couldn't solo it, or at least I couldn't solo it. As we can see, I'm not that great at this game, so it was probably possible for tank classes to do most of it. The problem is, at the end of the rep grind, the only bosses that would still give you rep were Twin Emperors and Cthulhu. Well, Twin Emperors is not soloable. In fact, it might. I don't even know if it is still unsoloable or not. I don't know if they changed the mechanics or if you can manage to snipe them fast enough. But you couldn't solo that, and even with a small group could fail Twin Emps even during Wrath if they neglected the mechanics. Not because they couldn't deal the damage, but because the boss heals itself at such a high rate if you screw it up. And if you solo it, there's no way to separate the bosses, so there's no way at the time to outdamage it. You could probably outdamage it now. And of course, if you don't beat Twin Imps, you can't go to Cthulhu. Kind of like Yogg, there's some weird mechanics with Cthulhu. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? This is what I'm talking about, getting used to streaming. I completely forgot. I need to go up the hill and fight Major Domo. That would have been really frustrating to get all the way to Ragnaros, and he doesn't appear. Anyways, kind of like if you were to try to solo Yogg-Saron in a difficulty, like let's say you had it on 25-man heroic to get the best chance at some of the weird drops that he has. Hard mode even. Probably before Legion that would have been... Miss a Pandaria, probably. Most people could do it. But if you were to have tried that during Cataclysm, you wouldn't have been able to do it, just because you wouldn't have been able to kill him fast enough before the sanity meter got you and you got mind controlled. Not because you would die, but because it would reset the fight because you're the only target.
Impossible. Stay your attack, mortals.
Meanwhile, here we are.
Brashly, you have come to rest.
We're a couple of expansions away from Cataclysm, and the pathing boss in oh gosh, what's it called? Firelands. There's a pathing boss, Shadox, I think is his name, in Firelands. He's got 2 hounds with him. And if, even today, if you don't kill him right away, you'll get stun locked and just die. Because one of his dogs has like a 3 or 4 minute stun. Or actually, I think it's more than that. I think it's like... anyways, don't quote me. It's some long amount of time stun lock. If you aren't a tank class. And there's nothing you can do. You just sit there and get chip damaged until you die. Or until the stun comes off, because you can't die. That's a good way to get soft locked in this game. Soft locked. You can always log out. Even in combat, you can log out. That's the reason why I don't have the legendary from Cataclysm, the healer staff. Is it a healer staff? Anyways, it has a transform effect that turns you into a freaking sweet dragon. And the only reason I don't have it is because I haven't gotten anyone together to help me with that fight. You have to do specific things in that fight, have him lay traps and run him through them to drop these crystals. And I just haven't gotten it done. I managed to do it for all the other bosses, but that one, because of the stun lock mechanic, you can't do it. Water walking should work on lava for shamans. I think so. And now we wait. There is a little bit of nostalgia for old school MMOs when you see bosses like this that are
he who was ancient when this world was young,
huge, menacing. You know, like back in EverQuest, if you walk into a dungeon, there's a huge freaking dragon there. You already know not to mess with it unless you're ready. You know, you're just a lowbie leveling up in Eastern Kingdoms. And all of a sudden there's a hill giant, and you know already, oh, I can't beat that. Don't even have to slash con.
Rampant through the hallowed core. Now you lead them to my very lair. You have failed.
The lore of this raid is really good as well.
Justice shall be met.
The deal is the Dark Iron dwarves were trying to get an edge in the civil war with the other two dwarf clans.
4, 3,
And their king summoned Ragnaros, thinking they would use him to help them. Well, spoilers, he enslaved their entire race. Nope. That's a zilch. Time to go to Northrend. I need a third action bar over here for engineering toys only. I would love that. Blizz, if you happen to be listening to a 0 viewer streamer, put a third action bar here. We don't need this real estate. Give me a third action bar. I want to be able to click on my engineering toys without going into the toy box. I have them all favorited, but it's okay. Oh. Well, I haven't seen that. That's actually a rare occurrence. In order to help you get a schematic in Wrath of the Lich King, it only appears like a very small percentage of time that you use the wormhole generator. So now I'm going to slow myself down going to Ulduar, but I'm curious. It's only the third time I've ever seen it. So I forget if there's anything cool down here still, if you've been here or not. Nope, she's got nothing. Oh, it's not loaded. Thanks, Blizz. We'll just sell all this junk. There's probably some... Oh. There's probably some add-on that would do this for me, but I don't like to bloat up the game. I already have too many add-ons as it is. Oh, I still had items from running Pandaria dungeons. That's okay. Oop. Nope. Now, how to get out of here? That's the question. Oh, I guess I'll just recall. Also, this is, yeah, it's in Northrend. Dalaran anyways. That's hilarious. I'm actually gonna sell a pet while I'm here. You can only have 3 of the same pet. You can see this Mark of Flame wants to teach me Harbinger of Flame. And that's not gonna work because I already have 3. Really? It is Harbinger. One of them even leveled up. I must have used it at some point early on in my pet battling career. We're gonna cage that up. We'll learn this one. There we go. Now the reason for that is to sell it. You can sell pets that you have caged. Actually, let me just cage. I have no reason to have 3, so I'll just... No. I don't want to put more than 1 up at once because I want it to sell. Also, pay no attention to my auctioneer prices. I hardly ever scan, so they're almost guaranteed to be wrong. I just refresh it when I need to sell something. I used to do a little bit of gold goblining on my alt, my DK alt, but it just wasn't worth the time to me. You know what I mean? Was not worth it. Come on. I thought you have to click on that for some reason, even though I've been here a million times. Now, that's interesting. It's interesting to see the delay sometimes between what you're doing and your stream. It's kind of funny like that. Oh well. Also, kudos Blizz putting the Chromie scenario here. I got some good play out of that. It was fun. Kind of tough. You need to use some good strategy or else it just wasn't going to work for you, no matter how overgeared you were. They were smart setting the gear level, your item level set at a higher amount than usual in there, so they could tune it. They knew exactly the gear that the bird is wearing. A bell as a hat. He's figured out. I don't know why he does it, but he does it. So we're flying. Turns out using that underground teleporter was a big mistake. Because I could be already done with Flame Leviathan by now. That's okay. Get to show off my Sandstone Drake transformation. I think that's why I was gold goblining in Cataclysm, honestly. It was really expensive to buy the mats for this mount. Now it would be trivial to get this. That's the thing with WoW is if you're playing for a lot of achievements or doing things in the game when they're live, you're it's kind of like what you've done in the game is always becoming trivialized. So, you know, you can say, oh, I've got, you know, I have over 80 exalted reputations on this character. But, you know, gaining rep isn't as hard as it used to be in a lot of instances. Now, some of that is harder, like the Battleground reps. If I had played during Classic or BC even, I would have been able to get Defilers and who is it? Warsong Outriders. Is it Warsong Outriders? Whatever. I would have been able to get those reps a lot easier because you could turn in marks that you would normally use to get honor. You could turn them in for rep instead, and of course I would have done that. So there's some that are harder or removed, which I'm proud of the ones that I got before they were removed or made extremely hard to get, but it's also bit me in the butt because one of the ones that I didn't get, I did not play during Mists of Pandaria, and therefore I didn't start the Legendary Cloak quest line. So I don't have the rep for the Black Prince right here. The only way to get that rep is 1 week at a time. You can kill a Celestial on Timeless Isle for 500 rep each time. And a lot of weeks I haven't done it, or I've forgotten, or I just didn't want to, I just didn't go there, whatever. A lot of weeks I just didn't do it, and that hurt, because if I had done it every week, I'd actually almost be at the Exalted now, and I'm not even halfway there. That's one where even if I had just started the quest line, that rep would take me only a day or two to get, because you could grind it out. You could grind it out killing mobs in certain areas, but if you haven't started the quest line, those mobs don't give you any rep. If I had even started the first quest of it, they would give me rep, or at least that's the reports that people who had started it and not finished it say. Now we wait some more. That's what we're doing. Doot. There we go. Flame Leviathan.
Let's move out. Get into your
This is
machines.
what,
I'll
run
speak to you
number
from here via
44
the
of
radio.
Olduar. And you're wondering, hey, if you only need such and such amount of pieces of Val'anyr, and you get at minimum one every time, how come this is the 40-something time you've run Ulduar? It's not. That's how many Molten Core runs I've done. Most of the times I ran Molten Core were back when Hydraxian Waterlords was a rep, though. I was rep grinding then. I hadn't even started the trying to build Sulfurous. But there's no quest, that's the thing with some of this. Like Thunder Fury, there's a quest line to get it. But Sulfurous, there's no quest line. It just, if you have the mats, you can make it. And I have the Sulfuran Hammer. My very first ult was made in order to be able to make that. So I got that. That's not bound, so I've mailed it to my main here. I also had to get Thunder Fury on that Death Knight as well because shamans can't equip swords. And you do not get the achievement for having a legendary weapon unless you can actually equip it. Little known fact. Even if you can do the quest line and you're allowed to create it, you do not get the achievement unless the character that you got it on can equip. Now that may be different now that they've had account-wide achievements, but at least during Cataclysm that was true. I do want to do Fangs the Father next, which actually, I can actually start that quest line some more now, so. I was waiting 12 hours on my rogue and I completely forgot that I already did the first step, which is waiting those 12 hours. Whoops. It's not like I'm in a hurry, it's trivial content, even for a rogue. Although there was a rogue that soloed Nax, Nax 25 in Wrath of the Lich King, when Wrath of the Lich King was still the current expansion. So I guess with enough eye levels and enough skill, you actually have to be good. And, you know, people who are familiar with WoW may already know that rogues are a pretty complex class. So let me give you a hint on how great I am at playing that. Not very good. I'm only decent at Shaman even after playing it for the entire time I played WoW.
You've broken the defenses of Ulduar. In a few moments we'll be dropping into... What's that? Be careful, something's headed your way.
Flame
Evasive
Leviathan.
action! Evasive action!
Here we go.
Hostile entities detected. Threat assessment protocol active. Primary target engaged. Time minus 30 seconds to reevaluation.
Watch out! Our air scouts report that the generators from the missile silos are coming online.
Clear Fury online. Acquiring target.
Hit him with these barrels.
Board
We need
online.
him to do that.
Acquiring target.
Maybe this time my Demolisher will actually live. I can try. Oh, see, now we're into the part where if I come out of this vehicle, I'll get frozen
Runs Inferno.
and die. But
Acquiring target. System failure. Defense protocol breached. Leviathan unit shutting down.
still no shard from him. Wow, guys, you're just... Oh, wow. They aggroed me, and then they stood there. Oh, I guess there's a no combat zone after that. That's cool. Oh, no. I can't remember. Was this Rydian originally, or was it Ronan? And they've replaced him, since Ronan is dead now. Oh, that sucks. I liked Ronan. I know, he was too powerful.
What can I
Blah,
do
blah,
for you?
blah.
See you around.
I don't care. I liked Varisa Windrunner until recently as well. Sorry, nerds. It's okay. We can like different characters. Oh. This is the frustrating part about the Boudoir. It's very front-loaded with bosses that have long phases that you can't just kill them right away. I mean, this boss will take one hit to kill once I get her down. You gotta wait the whole freaking 2 minutes or whatever it is before you can get her down. Sorry about the screen shake. I'm pushing my buttons too hard. Yeah, turn 2. My back hurts. Don't keep sitting in a chair too much. Come on.
Move quickly! She won't remain grounded for long! It's too far away.
Cool. Nothing. Ah. Nothing. You know, I've never used the lightning surge totem. Let's just finally get that there. Same round again, huh? I can leave this for mounts that I need in specific circumstances.
Well, your blood will temper the weapons used to reclaim this world!
Also, if you're going to farm any long-term farming mount, it's this one right here, the Sky Golem. If you've never seen, you've probably seen somebody on it if you play WoW at all. But if you don't play WoW, or you're just starting at WoW, or especially if you didn't play during Mists of Pandaria, this is an engineering mount, but anybody can use it. You don't have to be an engineer to use it. It's built by engineers, but the problem is there's a daily cooldown that you need, I think 20 of, from Mists of Pandaria. So it takes you 20 days to get it, even if you have all the cash up front and all the materials up front. But it's definitely awesome. You're like, wow, it's clanky, it makes a lot of noise, but you can herb while you're riding. Kind of like how monks can do it, except it flies at full speed instead of their really wimpy cloud speed. So you can act like you're a druid a little bit. flying form. Still the most OP method of travel in World of Warcraft. Definitely freaking sweet. I'll switch it up. I'm going to the council first. I'll do Algalon later. Don't worry about it. I kind of don't understand why they picked these three. I guess they're supposed to be the leaders of the still metal versions of everybody, but there's other metal races besides these, and the Storm Giants aren't. The Storm Giants aren't like a race. They're, from what I can see, they're basically servants of the Titan constructs directly. I guess there's fleshy versions of them. They all kind of look the same, though. It's hard to tell. You know, the earthen look different than dwarves do, whereas the Storm Giants don't really look any different than the metal Storm Giants. I'm not sure what else. They're all Storm Giants. Anyway, the lore surrounding the servants of the Titans and all their creations is a hot mess, so probably best not to think about it too much. That door had those symbols, by the way, because the quest to get in here, you had to beat those keepers and get special items before you would be allowed. The computer at the other end, behind the Assembly of Iron, would let you in here with a quest once you got specific items from the keepers associated with those elements. But once you've done it, you can come in first, which is good because it saves time. Waiting.
We did it, lads! We got here before Algalon's arrival. Maybe we can rig the systems to interfere with his analysis.
Translocation complete. Commencing planetary analysis of Azeroth.
You're now seeing the trend in this dungeon. You
Stand
wait
back,
for
mortals.
everything.
I'm not here to fight you.
I would give anything to be able to attack him right now. It sounds weird, but when you have to, it's only a couple of minutes.
Do not interfere.
When you're just trying to get in here and do this trivial content and get out.
I'll head back to the Archivum and see if I can jam his
They got
signal.
smarter about it in
Might be able
Legion.
to buy
If
us
you've
some
already
time while you
done
take care of him.
certain intro quests with an alt, it will let you just skip not only the cutscenes and the cinematics and the quest text, it'll let you skip the whole scenario. Like for Broken Shore, you don't have to do any of that. You can just skip it, go straight there. Hey, I've seen this. Khadgar's like, sorry, Dadgar is like, yo, I got you, bro. We're going straight there. Welcome to the Broken Shore. That was good content, but it didn't last me. And honestly, making your class mounts locked behind finishing the Broken Shore questline is such a waste. At least, you know, completing all the class hall quests, yes, they're all kind of formulaic, but they all have their own story. When you're doing Broken Shore, at first I was all gung-ho. Now that I have done the class hall quests on all my characters, I was all gung-ho to go get their class mounts too, because they're sweet. I especially want the mage one.
I have seen worlds
But
bathed in the Maker's
then when I
flames,
started, I was like,
their denizens
wait,
fading
you
without
gotta
so
do
much as
all
a
these
word.
exact same Broken Shore
Entire
quests
planetary
again
systems born
on all
and
characters?
raised
Like,
in
I
the
didn't get
time
Lore
that it takes
Master
your
on every
mortal hands
continent
to beat
and every
worlds.
expansion just
Yet
to play the
all
quest,
throughout,
you
my
know,
own
a
heart
big long quest
devoid
line
of
again
emotion,
with every single
of
character I've
empathy.
got. It just
I
doesn't make sense.
have felt
Once you've done it on one character, you
nothing.
should just get the class
A
mount. I know you're
million,
supposed to. They want
million lives
you to play your
wasted.
alts and feel about
They
them.
all held within them your
You already need to
destiny.
be playing the alt to
And they
use the
all
class
love
mount.
life as
So
you do.
sometimes I don't get Blizzard's philosophy and stuff like that.
Perhaps it
Still
is
no
your
Val'anyr shards.
imperfection,
Just pointing that out.
that which grants you free will, that allows you to persevere
6 bosses in,
against
7
all
bosses in,
cosmically
no
calculated
shards.
odds.
Nope.
You prevail where the Titan's own perfect creations
I have
failed.
the worst luck.
I've rearranged the reply code. Your planet will be spared.
I only need 3.
I cannot be certain of my own
I need 3 more
calculations
shards.
anymore.
And I have gotten 3 in the same run before.
I
And
lack
you
the
can
strength
get
to transmit
a
the
maximum
signal.
of 15
You must
in the same
hurry.
run.
Find a place of power close to the skies.
And at this rate, I'll be lucky if I get 2. At least if I get 2 this
Will you be
run,
alright?
then I'll know that I'm gonna get it next week. Easy peasy.
Do
If
not
I get
worry about my
1
fate, Bronson.
this week,
If
then
signal
the
is
whole
not
time next
transmitted in
week I'm gonna be
time,
wondering, man, do I have to do
reorigination
this
will
again, or am I
proceed
done?
regardless. Save your
Nothing's
world.
worse than when you think you're gonna be done doing runs of a weekly dungeon, and then you're not. You're not done. Bye, Hodir. Also, I gotta say, kudos to Blizzard in the Warrior Dungeon Hall for actually using all these Titan Keepers again. And especially Hodir. Spoilers for Warrior Questline. Hodir getting kidnapped. His fell design is legit. There's a piece. Yes. Alright. So, that's good because Yogg-Saron is guaranteed to drop one. Which means next week will be Val'anyr, and I still have a chance to get it this week. All I need is a boss before Yogg to drop one, and I'll have it. Nice. You see that orange in the chest, and you get a little excited. They've got us all programmed. Especially with so many legendaries in Legion, which, by the way, if you're in that rat race, I don't know why you would do that. There are people right now farming shards to trade in for the legendaries that they don't yet have for their class. And I'm just kind of like, if you're not in a progression rating guild, why? Why do you want every legendary?
What is this?
They're not going to be useful. Most of them don't even look cool. Like, if they looked cool, that'd be one thing. But they don't look cool, and you can't use legendaries from transmog anyways. So I just don't understand it. I never even saw that those guys do that attack that hits off the side. I've never seen that before in all my runs in here. I'm trying something different this time because I think maybe these are the guys that keep me in combat. The leader, because I just run past him. But then I think about it, there's Val'anyr types. And also, anyone upset, that's an undead catapult, right? Forsaken? Is it Forsaken or Scourge? But anyways, why is it here? The Scourge aren't here. Even if it was Scourge and not Forsaken. They're not... The Lich King's not here either.
Impertinent Wells.
He wasn't even here.
Challenge me
He got
atop
chased
my
off or something.
pedestal? I will crush you myself.
Because old gods are scary, bro.
Lord Thor, I will bring your foes.
Also,
to
if you don't
death.
jump off that platform,
Fiend! You are not my beloved.
you-
Be gone!
the battle resets.
Behold the
If you're
hand
soloing this.
behind all the evil.
So
that has
always jump
befallen
off as soon
all
as
the
you hit him up
worlds.
top the
Left
first
my
time.
kingdom in ruins, corrupted my
Yeah,
bride,
okay, it
and
was those guys in
slain
the hallway.
my wife.
That's legit. Okay.
And now it falls to you, champions, to avenge
Good job,
us
Thorin.
all.
You killed your wife.
The task before you is great, but I will lend you my aid as I
He doesn't
am
seem too
able.
broke up about it, does he?
You must prevail.
I mean, like, Jessica Jones did that well. And it's not like that was her husband either. It's somebody she didn't even know. Next boss. Oh, we can mount up in here. Yay. Because it's outside, actually. If you look, we're out back. I've never kind of liked that. How Blizzard does that. Like, they'll have areas that are from the dungeon, but you're outside the dungeon. And they call them the uninstanced version. Probably the worst one was them when they... Yes! Alright, we're getting Val'anyr this time. Yes. Nice. Nice. That's exciting. So, probably the worst thing is when they added Encourage to the world map. So you can fly over the whole, what would be the raid, except for the, you know, there's underground parts, but the entire city segment is there on the map, empty. Like, I don't even understand the point of putting it in there. I know they had to because you have flying, and otherwise it'd be like, well, there's this whole outdoor part in the raid. Where is it on the map? Same thing with, is it Zul'Gurub? One of the troll dungeons, the one that's in southern Eastern Kingdoms, the one that's in Stranglethorn. You can fly right over it. Nothing there. Honestly, I don't really even have to fight this guy now. I could just go straight to Yogg. I already have the engineering item I needed from him too, so I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm already here, so... How did I not have this item in my transmog from her? How did I not have Ice Core staff? Wow. These are nice looking staffs, I gotta say. This one's good. This one's good for... I do have a Shadow Priest on an RP server. And I'm on the lookout for stuff like this. You know, I've got the Shadow Tentacle pet and a Shadow Drake as the mount. But a nice transmog like that, that'd be pretty good. You know, work the my character is super insane angle. Not that there's really much RP going on unless you have to deliberately... That's the thing with RP servers. You basically have to go find an RP event that's happening. Just due to the nature of how the game is played now with, you know, dungeon running and the group finder tools being a lot of the gameplay. You know, you're always paired up with non-RP. And anyways, even RP players are trying to get their stuff done. You know, you don't have time to RP in a 5-man, really. Even hanging out in Stormwind, which I'd never really done until recently when I started leveling some Alliance characters. There's really hardly any RP going on anywhere. Yes, I know about all the Goldshire stuff. I didn't go to Goldshire on purpose.
Isn't it beautiful?
ERP is not my thing. Sorry. Sorry.
Preliminary testing phase complete. Now comes the true test.
What would be great is if I get the last piece of Val'anyr and I get Mimron's head, because if not, I'm never getting that mount, because I'm not coming back and running this dungeon again once I get Val'anyr. Not just for that. I guess it wouldn't be bad if you could go straight to Yogg, but you can't. It is a cool enough mount that if you could go straight to Yogg, I might do it, but you have to beat all the keepers first. And to get to the keepers, you need to beat Flame Leviathan,
It would
which is the
appear
time-consuming
that I made a
part.
slight miscalculation. I allowed my mind to be corrupted by that fiend in the prison, overriding my primary directive. All systems seem to be functional now.
I've
Clear.
never had luck selling that recipe, so it's probably just going to get vendored. It is just going to get vendored. This is also another good thing about playing a shaman, is if you do something stupid while you're running these, like fall off a ledge, or let one of those bombs blow you off a ledge, you always have Reincarnate to help you. It doesn't have to slow you down a super large amount. Seriously, Araya, who runs around here, isn't counted as one of the keepers, which is odd. Like, you just straight up kill her. You straight up kill their buddies in here, like Kolagarn and Araya and all of that, but what am I doing? No hard feelings, I guess. You also killed... I guess he's supposedly one of the main watchers, like equal with Tyr. Arceus in way back in like a level 40 dungeon. I think that's a lore mistake. I'm like, okay, so this guy, this boss is supposedly one tier below these keepers in like the godly hierarchy. Yet we killed him with 5 adventurers who were not even that awesome. Meanwhile, if we had to face Tyr, I'm sure it would be a crazy hard fight. But then again, I'm sure that fight was harder when it was current content in Classic WoW, so maybe it's all relative. Our characters never actually gained power, they were always that powerful. That's weird that he dropped the same thing 2 times. That's... Guess a quirk of the way they've backwards rigged how looting happens.
Focus your anger and hatred on his minions.
By the way, if you've never done this fight and you haven't looked up anything about it, I'm running through these clouds on purpose to spawn these guys. You have to kill them on top of her to get actual Yogg-Saron to show up. Otherwise they spawn forever. Literally forever. But once you explode like 4 or 5 on them on her, then she gets nailed. There's that sanity meter I'm talking about. Her blessing actually hurts you. I love this. I love the old gods. They're like one of the best things in the WoW story. I know they pretty much stole it wholesale from Lovecraft stuff, but both Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron have really good designs. The fights are amazing. These madness portions actually are really great if you ever have a chance to like look up these scenes when you're not trying to solo the boss. They're all really important scenes from WoW lore. Like this is Garona killing King Lane, who was Varian's father.
Is bringing up his warlocks by nightfall.
That assassination where she was kind of brainwashed, kind of mind controlled. They've changed it over time. Sometimes she counted as loyal and other times not, but oh wow, I screwed up. I forgot to kill the brain before I came out. Oh, that's a shame. That sucks. Now I have to wait till he spawns portals again. Not good. That actually could be bad. I need to
It is done. All have given that which
look,
must
and
be.
like this is the Dragon Soul being created, which some of this were deep dives into the lore before this stuff actually was important in game. So the Dragon Soul was not, that was from a book, which they made it important in game afterwards. And I don't know if they added the scene during Cataclysm. It's weird if they went back and added more scenes to this, but some of them were definitely stuff that was not apparent beforehand. And I'm inside the model here. This is wretched. Okay. Can I do it now, or do I need it from the bank? I need it from the bank. Excellent. I'm still getting loot. After all this time, I'm still getting loot that I don't have transmog for in this dungeon. Crazy. Alright, so we'll get to the bank, which I hardly ever use the bank in Dalaran. Let's do it.
You need something?
Don't look at my bank. It's real messy. Alright. Where do I have you? 100 fragments. Well. There you are. Thanks, Bagnon.
Light blessing.
Alright, here we go. We're gonna make it in the Dalaran bank, okay? They give you a nice big cast time so that you can feel epic about it. Very cool. Yes. There we go. Oh yeah? I should have brought them with me if I had remembered that quest was there. Now I have to go all the way back and all the way. Well, there's a teleport, but still. It's like, dude, that's annoying. I forgot there was more quests to do after I got the pieces. What's that?
Be careful.